Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Thursday, 4th September 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Wednesday's hotly contested general elections in Jamaica yield its results. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. A hotly contested general election in Jamaica it was, with the incumbent JLP seizing a third term with a narrow win over the opposition PNP. Up to the time of us signing off to prepare this report, the JLP reached the winning target of 33 seats ahead of the PNP. In a subsequent broadcast, we will be able to share the final count. Some surprises, some history-making moments, some upsets, some downright disappointments as the counting progressed. It is said that the only poll that we must watch is the result on the night of elections. Predictions can be right, but they also can be wrong. Elections require direct participation from the people in a democracy where one man, one vote determines the outcome. Low voter turnout still yield a winner and a loser. Confidence going into elections is important, but outcome is what counts. In watching the coverage, the feedback from each party's supporters at their headquarters exude confidence. The JLP supporters, 3 hours into the counting, were saying 35 seats even though they have lost a few from their 2020 showing, while the PNP supporters were saying 32 seats for them and 31 for the JLP. The level of confidence of both parties must be admired indeed. Listening to the coverage, renowned pollster Don Anderson indicated that the voter turnout was just below 50%, which is not satisfactory when one considers the extended period of the campaign leading up to Wednesday's polls. Even though it was a close election, the exercise in democracy could not attract 4 out of every 10 registered voter coming out to vote at 33.9% voter turnout, because the two major parties are not able to excite the populace. It has been discovered that only 1% more voters participated than the 2020's general election under COVID. First time the JLP administration is getting a third consecutive term. The majority of registered voters did not appear to want either party to represent them. Democracy seems under stress in Jamaica. During Wednesday's contest, TVJ's Ramado Lyons caught up with incumbent Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, after which he sought out Mark Golding, incumbent opposition leader. Take a listen.
So as you heard earlier, I spoke with opposition leader Mark Golding, and he's very confident about the potential outcome of this general election. Well, so too is Dr. Andrew Holness, leader of the Jamaica Labour Party. He showed up moments ago here in St. Andrew Eastern to cast his vote right here at Mona High School. Now, this constituency is being contested by the JLP's Favour Williams, the PNP's Patricia Duncan Sutherland, and Carl Cargill from the JPP. I spoke with Mr. Holness after he cast his vote, and this is what he had to say. Dr. Holness, Romardo TVJ, the latest Don Anderson poll shows the opposition ahead. He contends that his predictions have been accurate.
Don Anderson predicted in 2007, 2011. He predicted in 2016, and he predicted in 2020. Come on. I'm not going to discredit any poll. Let me say that. But I don't listen to Don Anderson's poll.
This campaign trail has been clouded with talks of corruption. Do you think that will affect how some Jamaicans vote?
Without question. I mean, there are Jamaicans who will listen to the headline and not necessarily read the story. So that's something that we factor in. I think the challenge with corruption in Jamaica is that it has focused heavily on the name and shame and, using bureaucracy to try to prevent corruption. I think there's another model, which is a model that actually works. And I've said it before, I say it again. Efficient systems can't be corrupted. So if you're trying to deal with corruption, you have to make systems efficient. And to make systems efficient, you want quick delivery of results, you want systems that are integrated, you want transparency, and you want a fair process of adjudication. So we are looking to, as we have announced, our speed program and increasing the efficiency of our public bureaucracy. And I think that is where you're going to get the greatest gains against corruption.
What I've observed at polling stations in both constituencies is people strolling in here and there. A lot of people who we spoke to said that they wanted to come out as early as possible, head to the polling stations, cast their votes, and head back home before the crowd.
Got here a little after 7. There was no movement. I think because of some new arrangements. But after that, things started to move and everybody cooled down. There was a whole lot of chatting, for wondering why we have to wait so long and all of that. But everything is going fine there now. And I'm happy I voted.
Send a message to people at home who are undecided. They don't know if they want to vote. They don't know if they're going to do it. What would you say to those people?
I tell them to come, because it's peaceful. There's a whole lot of security people here. And everybody seems to be engaged. There's no violence. So come, do your vote and go home.
Now, the presence of the security forces, as you can see behind me, is very noticeable. And I've seen representatives from the Jamaica Defense Force, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, even some officers from MOCA. Now, I'll continue to monitor the situation in both constituencies and to provide updates.
Now to opposition leader Mark Golding. He was in St. Andrew Northeastern earlier. Mr. Golding addressed an issue that has been plaguing elections in recent years after he voted.
There's often concern about the number of youth showing up at polls to vote. Are you satisfied with your party's efforts to appeal to youth this election?
Listen, one can always do better, but we have done a fair amount. It's been an issue of concern to us as well. So that is why, as leader of the party, I implemented an innovation by appointing a junior shadow cabinet drawn from young people in their 20s, early 30s, from the PMP Youth Organization and the Patriots, which is our young professional arm. And that has given exposure to the members of the junior shadow cabinet to speak on national issues and to raise the profile of the party among the youth, to show them that we are a party that respects young people and feels that their voice is important and that they should be given opportunities to be heard. We've also had 2 youth rallies specific to young people during this campaign, and those were very well attended, very full of energy and went very well. And on all of our major rallies as well, we have at least 2 persons who speak for young people, 2 young people. And we have a lot of young candidates who are very attractive candidates and can speak eloquently and have been speaking eloquently. So I think, for those who follow the politics, they will see the efforts that we have made. The challenge is, of course, that many young people are just not at all interested in public affairs. And I think that's symptomatic of the world as a whole. That's not just a Jamaica thing. And I think it's to do with the way in which communication and information is shared nowadays and the sheer volume of things that people have access to. But, we are doing what we can because we do see it as an important issue.
And in the past 2 elections, we saw voter turnout dwindling. Is that a concern for the People's National Party?
Well, we would like to see a high turnout. For one, I think a high turnout favors the opposition party in an election. 2020 was an aberration because it was during the COVID period. And indeed, it resulted in community spread occurring almost immediately after election day was announced. So that was an unusual situation. I don't think we can really give it too much statistical importance when it comes to voter turnout. But the polls have indicated an expectation that the turnout this time will be significantly higher than that.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
In other news, the following is a statement from Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley on the resignation of Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance, Dwight Sutherland.
Good afternoon, Barbadians. After discussion, I received earlier today a request from the Honourable Dwight Sutherland to be relieved of his ministerial portfolio in housing, lands and maintenance. I have accepted his request. He will remain as Member of Parliament for St. George South. This has been a request driven by him for personal reasons. I have asked, accordingly, the President of Barbados to appoint the Honourable Christopher Gibbs, Member of Parliament for St. Michael West, as the new Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance as of tomorrow's date effectively. I thank you for your attention, and I'd like to thank both the Honourable Dwight Sutherland for his service to the government, while at the same time looking forward to working with the Honourable Christopher Gibbs in this new portfolio. Thank you very much.
Political analyst Peter Wickham, meantime, has weighed in on his perspective on the resignation of Dwight Sutherland as Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance. He says the resignation has come as a surprise. He says the appointment of Chris Gibbs as Minister of Housing and Lands is an interesting one.
The government of Barbados is coming off a high from Carifesta, a very successful Carifesta, and this is not the type of news that we expected. Whenever a minister resigns, it sends a shockwave through the government, and I think no differently now. The question, of course, arises as to whether he jumped or whether he was pushed, and indeed the reason for either jumping or the pushing, as the case may be. Those details, unfortunately, we are not likely to know, and we'll probably never know. But the most important thing is that he's indicated that he is still interested in politics. And there are several examples of ministers who have resigned in Barbados or have been removed from cabinet, in the case of Minister Thompson, and return subsequently to have a fairly successful political career. So we don't know whether this will be a temporary process or a long-term thing, but he's indicated that he's still interested and committed to politics. His seat is relatively safe. I don't think there's any question where that is concerned. So this is not the end for him. Having said that, the curiosity will continue, and the Prime Minister has also not attempted to address the issue. I do know that Prime Ministers in situations like these often don't make comments on matters of this nature. We probably have several ministers in the past who have been removed from cabinet or who have resigned from cabinet, and the details have never been known. So this will just be another one of those. Of course, there will be public speculation. Minister Chris Gibbs is an engineer by profession, and he's also a very successful business person. And I imagine that he will have some skills that he can bring to bear on the housing portfolio. He'll be one of the youngest members of cabinet going in. He is a second-term parliamentarian. And I'm keen to see the shift in terms of him from the business world to the government, and I think that he is now at the start of a bright political career. So congratulations to Minister Gibbs, and this will continue to provoke some level of interest over the next few weeks.
I
am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.